listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican postgame report on the PRO Media Network. First segment, we recap the Pelicans' loss to the Miami Heat. This time around, the Pelicans get their first home court game of the preseason, first and only, by the way. They face off against the Toronto Raptors in this one. Now, Anthony Davis and the rest of the guys did play in this game. The Pelicans continued to kind of at least get that, wanting to get that first win of the season, the preseason that is. Now, of course, the Raptors came into this game. They rested a lot of the big wigs. Kyle Lowry was given rest. Valanciunas was given rest. So with Kawhi Leonard, he was also arrested. Serge Ibaka. So a lot of the core pieces of the Raptors wasn't in this game. The Pelicans, however, did play their top pieces. You know, Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, those guys who rested the previous game. In the Miami game, of course, they were rested in that one. They played extended minutes in this game. 31 minutes for Anthony Davis in this matchup. But before we get into the individual statistics of this match, let's go ahead and look at some of the game full team statistics as you were. If you look at it, the Pelicans against the Raptors in this one, they shot 47%, but Raptors were 53%, and that's key before we get into anything. It is difficult to beat a team that is shooting from the field 53%. If you're shooting over 50% from the field and over 40% from the three-point line, you're going to struggle to beat a team like that. You know, they just have the touch. And a three-point percentage, they shot 44% from the three-point line, 53% from the field. The Pelicans were 47% from the field and 30% from the three-point line. Total turnovers, the Pelicans, once again, 17 turnovers in this one. The Raptors a little bit more disciplined, only 12. The Pelicans, however, did out-rebound the Raptors 51-40 in this matchup. Of course, offensive rebounds, just like the Miami game where Miami had a ridiculous amount of offensive rebounds, the Raptors continued to trend. They had 17 offensive rebounds in this game. Pelicans only 6. That's key. The Pelicans did out-rebound them by 11. Offensive rebounds usually key to putback, stick back points, second chance points, if you were. And the Pelicans definitely have to do a better job of that, but that's because of the system. If you notice how the Pelicans' pace of play is, once the ball is shot, one guy, you get one shot and you're done, and then you beat the other guy off the field. I do not agree with that philosophy. I think at least you have a guy, like when the ball is shot, there should be a rebounder underneath the hoop to try to get an offensive rebound. Most of the cases, you don't see that. You see one shot and then they break into the other end to try to play defense. I think that's a flaw in the system that should be corrected, but that's just my point. You basically kind of force your offense to convert first shots into points, and that's totally unrealistic. But that's just me. Like I said, if you agree, then let me know in the comment section. You say, well, Q, you're absolutely right. And if you disagree as well. But that's the issue. If you look at the rest of the statistics, the Pelicans did have more assists, 31-27, which they do move the ball around because of pace of play. They had 8 steals versus 9 of the Raptors. Pelicans had 7 blocks and, of course, 17 turnovers, which I told you before, which they gave up 14 points off of 17 turnovers. The Raptors had 12 and gave up 14 points as well. 21-18 on a fast break. Raptors win that battle. And the points in the paint, once again, the Pelicans, they've lost all of their points in the paint battles through this preseason, 70-66 on this game. And like I keep telling you, if you lose in the point in the, it's a reason why they're not winning these games. High turnovers, losing the points in the paint battle with these teams, and the fact that you look at the rebounds, the fact they're getting out rebounded offensively. This game 17-6, and a lot of that's easy putback points, stick back points, second chance points as you were. Now, before we get into the individual statistics, let's see what Coach Gentry had to say about his team performance against the Raptors. Here's Coach Gentry.
You know, we definitely got to get better defensively. You know, and I'm a little bit disappointed because I thought we did a good job in the first 2 games, and you know, we've just struggled defensively since then. You know, we got to have more of a presence on the ball, and then we got to do a better job. You know, we were one of the top screening role defensive teams, and that seemed to be the one thing that's been hurting us. And then we got to do a better job of guarding our own guys. You know, offensively we're fine. You know, you can't score 120 or you know, night at, you know, 2 straight nights and then lose by double figures. You know, it just doesn't make sense in our league. So we've got to get better defensively. You know, the turnover thing tonight was a lot better. I mean, even if we're really, really good with them, we're going to turn it over, 12 to 15 times. So, we had 17 tonight. So I thought we did a much better job of managing that. And then even in the first half, they only had 3 points off our turnovers because I thought we did it trying to do the right thing, making the right plays, so we had court balance. So they didn't have the ability to run out. And most of them weren't live. They were not live turnovers. So they didn't have the chance to run out. But, it's concerning, that, you play 2 straight games and, give up over 130 points in both the games. So it's very concerning. We've got to, make sure that we the next 4 or 5 days in practice, we got to really zero in and concentrate on that, and a little bit our transition defense, but more so than anything, we got to do a much better job of just guarding the ball and keeping it in front of us and doing a good job in our screen and roll defense. Well, we just hadn't done a good job of containing the ball, and if you're going to get broken down and the ball's going to get into the paint, then all kind of bad things are going to happen. You got to be able to contain the ball, and you got to be able to do it in screen and roll defense, and we just have not done that. The last 2 games especially, I thought we did a pretty good job with it in the first one.
It's Coach Al Gentry, man, basically telling you the truth. Very somber because obviously if you're a head coach, you want to make sure your team win at least 1 or 2 of these preseason games just to get the feel of a win. But to go out of the preseason 0-5, is not a comfortable feeling. Going into the preseason and your first battle is arguably the second best team in the Western Conference, the Houston Rockets. So the Pelicans in this one against the Raptors, 134-119, didn't end pretty well for them, as you heard Coach Gentry talk about it. But the top scorers, Andy Davis did play. He had 31 minutes, 36 points in the game in 31 minutes, 13 of 18 from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line, 8 of 13 from the free throw line. He had 10 rebounds, actually 15 rebounds in this game for AD, 4 blocks. So AD was AD as usual. Drew Holiday, his complimentary piece was 14 points, 6 of 11 shooting. He was 0 for 3 from downtown in 29 minutes. He did have 8 assists and 6 rebounds, Drew Holiday. So he stepped up big. Nikolai Mirotic, another piece with Anthony Davis, 15 points in 25 minutes, 6 of 13 from the field, 3 of 7 from downtown in this game for Nikolai Mirotic. And, of course, there was Etuan Moore who stepped up in 25 minutes of play. He was 5 of 8 shooting from the field, 1 of 3 from downtown. He had 12 points in the affair. And Elfrid Payton kind of wasn't, the last game against the Miami, that's his best preseason performance. This game, not so much. He had 6 points in 26 minutes, 2 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 7 assists in the game, so 6 points, 7 assists in 26 minutes. Got to get that up, Elfrid. You got to do better than that, brother. We expect at least 10 or 12 points a game from Elfrid Payton, perhaps 7 or 8 assists, perhaps from Elfrid Payton. But off the bench, Julius Randle came off the bench for the Pelicans. 25 minutes for him, 8 of 17 from the field, 1 of 3 from downtown, 3 of 6 from the free throw line. He finished with 20 points and 11 rebounds off the bench for him. Then other Pelican scorers, too minimal to even mention, to be honest with you. Only outside of Frank Jackson, who played 8 minutes and scored 8 points. Not anybody else really did too much. Darius Miller struggled again. Of course, he shot the ball really good against the Heat. Then that's Darius Miller for you. Up and down. This game, he only had 2 points. He was 1 of 8 shooting in 24 minutes. And that's the definition of an up and down shooter, which is that's just what Darius Miller is. Now, outside of that, Solomon Hill played 15 minutes, a minuscule 2 points in this game. Drew 15 minutes. Solomon Hill continues to show you that he is Solomon Hill and he needs to go. They'll probably work out a trade to get him out of here. That's what Scott Kutchner from The Advocate, the beat writer, spoke about on the previous show, that he's the guy at the top of the trade list because of contract. Jared Jack, in his final game with the Pelicans, he finished with just 2 points in 8 minutes, 0 of 2 shooting from the field for the veteran point guard Jared Jack. Pelicans, very easy breakdown on this one, people. If you're a Pelican fan, you looked at the statistics, you heard Coach Gentry talk about the turnovers, you heard Coach Gentry talk about the pace of play and where his turnover threshold is. Remember what I said? I said it was maybe 15, 16 years. Coach Gentry said 17 because of pace of play. Realistically speaking, the team has to be disciplined. He talked about live ball turnovers, which you turn the ball over and then they have a free run up the other end and you can't do nothing. It becomes a swing of play. It becomes a point swing that builds momentum towards the other team. It don't make any difference. If you're being beaten into the points in the paint and you're turning the ball over at the pace that they are and you're not shooting the ball well ultimately you're going to end up losing this game. That's what pretty much happened for Coach Al Gentry in this one. As a team, the defense needs to really step up, man. I mean, this is the defense from these games. I had maybe 1 or 2 games that I've seen this preseason where you could see the effort was there. Of course, that would change when the big guys, the more guys like Anthony Davis and all those guys get more time on the floor. You can see that that will adjust against some of the better teams. But I mean, these are things that you're looking at. The Pelicans defense is something that needs to be looked at. I mean, the pace of play. If you're going to be that level of pace in the NBA, you got to be disciplined. You can't turn the ball over like that. And you're going to have to tweak or adjust your offensive philosophy where you have 1 or 2 guys that are there to catch, stick back, or the second, try to get offensive rebound. The Alvin Gentry system, if you notice, and I've watched enough Pelicans games to understand this, that when the guy shoots the ball, once he shoots the ball, the Pelicans most of the times get only 1 chance to score a bucket. That's ridiculous. You should at least have 2 guys there protecting, trying to at least get the offensive rebound if it misses. But that's not the case. Those guys are breaking up the field trying to play defense. That's just like, to me, I don't get that. But anyway, that'll do it for the Pelicans' final game of the preseason as they faced down and lost 134-119 to the Toronto Raptors. On the other side of the break, we'll cover the Pelicans news and notes and break down the cut, and then we'll give you a look at the 2018 squad that'll be preparing for the 17th to take on the Houston Rockets. We'll cover that on the side of the break. You're listening to the Pelican Post-Game Report. Stay with us.
You're listening to the Pelicans Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products. And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog, newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
There's a reason he's always Employee of the Month. And why no shirt and no shoes is no problem. There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAstore.com has all the gear.